All right, about to post Escape from Maine. Just getting ready to jam right there.
I'll be right with you. says film fleet. Motion picture vehicles. Huh. Must be a fleet for people making movies. Out of Austin. Film fleet. That light just turned on.
All right, so I didn't get a hot dog. Instead, I'm going to get things like this every once in a while. This is a chicken Caesar wrap at RaceTrac. I got a refill too, and I used my bonus points and got a free refill. And here's what the chicken wrap, or the Caesar chicken wrap, looks like going in my mouth. Let's see here, right here. Not too bad. It tastes healthier than a hot dog. Pretty good. Or having it transported. Right? There's the Ridgely. Look at this right here. That is the one and only man with the hat. Look at this. It's not really stable. Kind of moves this way. Angela Mia. It's done in 2000, February 17th. Sounds familiar, February 17th. Chapel Hill Square, Fort Worth, Texas. Tylicious, and the Joint Chiropractor. There's the Great Clips, which I need to go in there eventually. If Apple gives me a call and they want to interview me, I'll probably have to go in there, and I don't know if I'm going to shave my head. I'll probably just cut it very short. There's the corporate Tempur-Pedic. I've done a vlog on that one right there. And this one is a Cocina, which is basically a Mexican restaurant. Notice these gloves right here. I don't know. It has gotten a little chilly though. A little chilly, not like super chilly, but it did get chilly yesterday. I got a sweater for it. Well, it's not, I guess it's a sweat top. If you want to be specific, a sweater top. It's Einstein Bagels. sweater top. Pretty warm for the south. Works. If I was up north, probably be like a ski coat. Kind of thermal blanket. Man, it gets cold in Maine. But we're in Fort Worth right now, so don't worry about it.
All the way from Florida.
All right. So we're going to drop this food at your doorstep. It's known as pho, grill, and noodle. Or it could be pho, noodle, and grill. And it's also known as pho. And some say pho. But I say pho. Because a Vietnamese person told me it was pho. And I said, well, everyone says pho. She says it's pho. I said, well, is it pho? Pho. And I said, okay. So we're going to drop this off. This pho. Noodle and grill at your doorstep. I believe it's, I remember the order is satay. Satay is part of the order. And then some type of noodle dish. I think it was like V5 or something like that. V something. But it's a noodle dish and satay, if you know what satay is. S-A-T-A-Y. So it's also egg and pork vermicelli and satay. Actually, it's grilled pork egg roll vermicelli and chicken satay is the actual official order for all the English majors that need it all spelled out for them. Find 6113. I think we're dealing with the chicken pork egg roll vermicelli and chicken satay. I think it would be here, yeah. Let's see here. Yep, that's looking familiar. Huh. I want to say that one's it. Nope, it's not Hitchcock, because Hitchcock would be north by northwest, which would mean the north side and the west, which makes even numbers, so Hitchcock always gets even. On the other side is going to be the odd numbers, which is south by southeast, which always is odd, like the Florida people that are odd. Because people from Florida are oddballs. They really are. And they have odd vlog shows, too, about a place called Walt Disney World. This is right. We did get one at Whataburger, and it's going to be a total of 2.3 miles for the pickup. And we should get there about 9:12, or no, it just changed. And then it's a 6-minute drive from here. We'll pick it up at your Whataburger, and then we'll drop it off at your doorstep. Probably going to be roughly about the same on the drop-off. Very rarely does it get more than 5 or 6 miles from each drop-off. It's usually about the same on each one. 2 to 3 miles on the pickup, 5 to 6, 7 miles on the drop-off. That would be the trains. train yard. You can see the part of it right here where they overwatch the trains. It's powerful to have a city that has trains. Not all of them do. Not every state has a railroad. Maine doesn't. The state of Maine up north by Canada, they have no railroad system. They got rid of it. It was too costly. Too much ice and snow. Now, Stephen King's friend was killed by one of their trains. They no longer have running trains in the entire state. It's an interesting thing. The train. That's a cost. Every time you hear that noise, it costs something. I more than likely will not go to California. I see it as what's known as the town of vanity, California. It's vain. It's a town, several different towns making up a city of what's known as vanity, where people condemn you because of who you are, where you're from, what you look like, what you believe in. You're condemned unto death. Ask actors, they won't lie to you. Some of them die. Some of them die trying to be iconic so that they can take care of their family, and they don't get to because they can't have 40,000 movie stars in one little area. That's a lot of movie stars, 40,000. That's a big, they'd have to take big pay cuts for that. The star system will be destroyed eventually. We're working on it right now as you speak. You're watching what's going to destroy you as a movie star. You're looking at it right here. It's called technology, and people being able to tell their story if they want. That hurts you. See, it takes time to watch a vlogger. If I go, I'm going to watch Please Subscribe Show and watch Cole Spivey's thing, see what it's really about. Boom. They move over from Grey's Anatomy, or they move over from watching Terrence Malick's whatever 3-hour movie Night of Cups with Natalie Portman. Freaking ways. Night of Cup with Natalie Portman, and they take times not watching that. Well, we're not going to watch that. Instead, we're going to watch this vlog, which is going to take away from their time, because time is money, and they don't get paid as much. Ask them. Their paychecks are a little bit less, not a whole lot less, but a little bit less than what they used to be. And that little bit turns into a whole lot after time. I guess maybe, Richard Linklater maybe tried to do it by staying here, and 35 millimeter film thing, where I think he started off with the 8 millimeter. He tried to do it. And he succeeded, and then, then he got wrapped up in it all. Okay, now I'm going to use Cate Blanchett, She's not exactly Hollywood, she's UK. I'm going to use Patricia Arquette, Ethan Hawke, Hollywood. Big time Hollywood. I'm not condemning them no more than they're condemning me. I've never heard of them. I mean, I've heard of them, but I've never heard them, not in person. No, that's a lie. I saw Ethan Hawke in person. That's right. Never mind. I saw him at the Actor Studio. I forgot about that. Never mind. I was trying to make a point. But what I mean is that they don't contact me. I'm not part of their system. I'm not part of their star system. We're going to pick up some Whataburger, and then we're going to drop it right at your doorstep. Looks like it's raining.
So we will be leaving Whataburger. It'll take 2.2 miles. We'll arrive around probably 9:34 or so. It'll be an 8-minute trip.
Talk a lot about Richard Linklater, but I don't talk a whole lot about Matthew McConaughey, other than the fact I've mentioned that he's from Uvalde, or people have mentioned that he's from Uvalde, Texas, where the massacre went down of the mass shooting. All I saw from the news was a guy that was driving like a pickup truck or something like that, and he runs it into the side of the road, like in a ditch. And then he gets out, and the school knew at that point what was going to happen, because he had the assault rifle with him. And then he just starts walking towards the school, kind of like a Terminator. This is an elementary school that he took his rage out on. You can no longer purchase the book, to my knowledge, The Rage by Stephen King. I don't think you can purchase it everywhere. There's been a censorship of that book. It's called Rage. It's written by Stephen King, but at this point, this guy, something had to happen to him. You know, they studied Whitman in the Austin Tower shooting, where he picked off all these students and people, and they said, well, he had a brain tumor. You know, that was one of the things. Same thing with Thomas Wolfe. Supposedly Thomas Wolfe had a brain tumor. That's why he wrote 5,000 pages for Untimement of River. There must be a reason why this guy was stalking this school. Was it something in his brain that was causing him to want to massacre elementary school students? And it went down. He went in there and killed as many as he could. And it's such a shock that the police force, not even that, but society no longer has control of the situation. They can't control it. Not at that moment. They all lose control, and these kids die. Now think of the mom that spends 9 months in pain, or at least in sometimes even agony. When my wife had David, my firstborn, my son, she threw up every day for 9 months, nearly. She got better around maybe the 6th or 7th month. It was called hyperemesis. It's where you throw up all the time. And it was a disorder that she had to deal with having the child, and she went through that pain and suffering to have David. To lose a child, you remember the pain that you went through as a parent, worrying, thinking about the child all the time. The ball and chain that you wear for being a parent, you love that agony and suffering of what the wife has to go through for the 9 months. You celebrate it by going down to the nearby Sonic and getting ice cream and bringing it back to your wife so that she can have a little snack, because they eat small little meals throughout the pregnancy. And then finally the baby's born, and the baby begins to grow up, and the baby learns how to speak, and the baby learns to walk, and the baby learns to start to count, and all these beautiful things that the baby can do, that humans do. And then one day the child at an elementary school goes to school and is slaughtered for, we don't know the reason. Not the exact reason, it'd be debatable. But something went on, and society lost control for that moment. The authority figures no longer were in control. When a child, and that man was basically a child, I think he was early 20s or something similar of that. I don't know the complete details. I don't need to know it to know it's evil. But that young person went into the school to murder babies, basically elementary school children. Whether he had a smile on his face, or whether he was frowning, whether he was crying, yelling, whatever it was, he did it deliberately and made sure these children died. He made sure they died. Just like an abortion doctor makes sure that that baby will not be born. There's a reason why police officers wear a gun. Because there's evil in the world. There's severe evil. We're talking about real monsters in the world. And Uvalde was a real monster, murdering for whatever reason. And then Matthew McConaughey goes up and makes a speech and tries to at least make some sense, which he couldn't really do. But at least he tried to make sense out of horror, terror, and the worst kind of violence known to mankind. Killing an elementary school children with, or killing a small child with an assault rifle. Almost as bad as taking a scalpel and removing an unborn child from the fetus. Almost as bad. Almost. Because some of those kids ran. But that unborn child doesn't get to run. It doesn't get a choice. It gets picked off in the middle of it trying to be born. You know, you could say that Uvalde was a form of abortion. It was abortion that happens in society because of the assault rifle and because the police officer also participates in the process of wearing or carrying or using weaponry. And sometimes we need that, you could say, because it can be stopped. But now we know that there's violence. And now we know that an officer will go in there and kill that young kid without question. They'll kill him, which is part of the murder. And now we have to figure that out. Is killing a person with a gun still murder? It can be. It certainly can be. It certainly can be. Is it right to do it to save other people's lives? Probably. But all in all, it's still killing. In a war, it takes two people to fight. And in a lot of cases, they both have guns. Not in every case, though. In Russia, whenever the Russians were attacking the Nazis in Moscow, when one of their soldiers, Russian soldiers, would fall without a weapon, then they just continued on. And sometimes they would fall with a weapon. And then the soldier behind them would pick up the weapon, and then they would fall. And the soldier behind them would pick up the weapon, and they would fall. And the soldier behind them would pick up the weapon, and that Russian soldier would fall. And the Germans would just keep sniping them until finally the Germans would run out of weapons, or they would run out of ammo. And the ammunition was no more. And eventually the Russians would show up with shovels and beat the heads of the Nazis with shovels. And sometimes they used rocks to beat the heads of the Nazis in until they were no more, or at least their head was no more. They used rocks and shovels, anything they could get a hold of to kill. It's not necessarily the weapon. It's beyond that. They will find something to pick up, whatever it may be. They will condemn that person for holding that item, and then they will kill them for whatever reason. Because we are a bunch of paranoid androids looking to kill. We live in a society that's about killing. Billy Corgan wrote about it, and the killer in me is the killer in you. So I send this smile over to you to disarm you, so that you're disarmed. He wanted disarmament. He wanted to disarm the killer. But it doesn't matter. They'll pick up a toothpick if they have to do the killing. Whatever it is they can find. They'll kill you with water. You know, the Anabaptists would put stones attached to a chain around your neck and push you off the ship. I think it was the Baptists. Yeah, it was the Baptists that do it to the Anabaptists because they were persecuted. It won't stop. Whether we have assault rifles or not, it doesn't matter. They'll still find a way to kill. It'll be harder, though. At least you'll have half a chance. A young elementary school would have half a chance if that guy went in there with just his fist to try to kill him. A lot of them would have survived because they could run. They could run away. But I'm sorry, not with the gun. The gun's too quick. It's too deadly. There will be a time in the future where we'll have no guns. It'll actually happen. There'll be no guns. It'll be harder to kill even an animal. It'll be harder to kill, period. There'll be a time where there'll be peace. And it's on its way. You're listening to one of the voices that's going to create that peace. Yeah, these are all building numbers. So we're near. Golly. It's nowhere near. These are all listed as building numbers too. My goodness. No response to the client either. No response at all. Let's see if we get lucky here. Nope, that's a 10. All right, so we'll go across the way here. Trunk open. Yeah, that is correct.